Hi, we're here in beautiful downtown Medicine, Washington to take a walk through Jay Steensma's exhibit, Skagit Red. The snow flurries are starting to come out. Charles is putting up the lights at Tweaks. Let's go inside. We'll do a quick overview. This exhibit was planned around Jay Steensma's series of drip paintings from 1993 into 1994, the last year of his life. These abstract paintings here, there's a series of 6 of them that I was able to secure. That's the main feature of this exhibit, and along with that we have some of his paper bag paintings, and then one really exceptional oil on canvas from the late 1980s. Let's start with the number 1 drip painting here, and it's called Skagit Red number 2. That's where the title of the exhibit comes from. Jay did spend quite a bit of time here. He never lived up in this area, but he visited Guy Anderson a lot, and being a good friend of Morris Graves, used to see him here or visit here together with him. The unusual thing about these paintings for Jay is that he never put a collage or an image onto them that was more representational, shall we say. He sometimes would attach postcards or paint something recognizable onto his abstract paintings. I had the good fortune to know Jay in the last 5 or 6 years of his life, and he said he thought people would not buy something unless it was recognizable. This is gorgeous. These are all oil on canvas. And it's 20 inches by 16 inches. That's a really unusual red. Some of these look like he's using this dark, like a dark cadmium, or yeah, maybe just a dark cadmium, but this looks almost like it's got a little vermilion in it. These are beautifully textured. And this one's 36 by 36 inches. These are all called Untitled Drip Series. They're all for sale. They have never been bought before. They haven't been shown, I don't think, since the mid-90s. There's a really beautiful feeling of light. You can see that it gets with these delicate washes. Somehow somebody protected them from him going after them when he was in a more perhaps manic mood. Jay was manic-depressive, and he had great mental swings most of his life. He was on lithium. If he didn't take his meds, he got into a lot of trouble. And you can sometimes see the psychological swings in his bodies of work. This is also gorgeous. They're very Skagit-like. They do feel like the poplars around here. 18 by 20. It's a beautiful series. I've been holding on to this for about 7 years. I thought maybe people would appreciate them more as time passes. And this is, again, the same size as the very first one. Trying to hold that still. these beautiful streaks of red. Huh. And there is a little wash over there he did use. It looks like cadmium red medium underneath, and then maybe a Indian red on top of that. I've seen these out in the market before, maybe in some of the auction houses, and there's one out there that's called Skagit Black and one out there that's called Skagit Gray. But these other 5 pieces are Untitled Drip series. This again has a really strong sense of the Skagit with just a few strokes. Let's go to his paper bag paintings. This is part of his Northwest Extinction series. And it is, let's see, what would the date be? 1994. Jay kind of took off on painting on paper bags, getting ideas from Morris Graves and from, of course, Guy Anderson painted on roofing material, whatever he could get at the hardware store. And as you can see, Jay used latex. He used a house paint for the white often, and it has a whole different feel than and that's a big house painting brush. And then he would use oil for the color. This is so beautiful, the way the eye is a window to the sky behind. It's really beautifully painted and nicely framed and mounted. I like seeing these up close. It's like looking at old textiles. The other one here is also part of the Northwest Extinction series. We're going to get some reflection. Not much I can do about that, being I'm not a professional photographer. That's so beautiful with the almost pink. And this is what I mean when I talk about it's almost like a rug-like or textile feeling to it. Again, the eye is a window to the sky. This is again Northwest Extinction series, number 2. I don't have very many of his paper bag paintings left. I was fortunate to have somebody bring over to me a beautiful owl owned by Guy Anderson that they're ready to sell, and Guy Anderson, fine Northwest painter, Jay went to visit him and left this owl paper bag painting behind and said, if you like it, send me some money. And he did. It's a gorgeous one. I've seen lots and lots of these. Jay was starting to do these in the late 80s and early 90s. And what I love to see here is, there's those little French bulldogs from next door, is the resist, where you can see the water and latex hitting the oil. Charlie. Sorry, I'm back. Dog party here. Oh, and this is so cool. There's the heel of Jay's shoe. At least when I knew him, he wore these kind of like boots that laced up in timberline or something. And I don't know if that's what he was wearing, but look at that footprint. A friend of mine used to frame all of Guy Anderson's work back in the 80s, and she said there was always footprints and coffee spills, and kinds of interesting markings. So that piece is called Owl, and it's a beauty. Next to it, we have Winter Chalice, also a beauty. I'm going to get a lot of reflection. This is interesting because he painted it on Strathmore paper. It looked to me like pastel paper, which Jay wasn't. It looks like a paper bag painting. It's painted in that manner, which he did on the floor, on his knees. And a chalice was one of his symbols that was so much a part of his vocabulary, his visual vocabulary. The chalice, the fish, the birds, the easel in the desert. And let's go back to this third painting. On this wall, which is appropriately called Guy Anderson as a Salmon, people up here where he lived say, well, it doesn't look like Guy Anderson, but it's long and slim. And it's hard to see it because it's got a lot of gray. It's, again, a beautiful painting. Last but not least, we're going to walk over to, I was visiting a friend in Seattle a few weeks ago, Liz Sandbeck, married to Mike Spafford, and she asked if I'd want to include this in the exhibit. They're ready to sell it, and this was in the Francine Setter's exhibit back in the late 80s. That's where Mike and Liz bought this painting, and they are ready to release it. I love these kind of funny desert house. You know, he did these Skagit Relic paintings, which are the little houses in the big empty landscape. And this is a takeoff of that. Shh, 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 shh. Sorry, my dog keeps barking. Speaking of dogs, Jay didn't usually put dogs in his paintings, but he was making a little tip of the hat to Faye Jones with her, who was becoming well known at that time, with these little funny, I don't know what they are, these funny decorative shapes, line shapes, and the bird and the dog. But he did do these guys with the hats and the easels in the what looked like a desert terrain, maybe Moscow, Idaho, where he was born. And there's a wheelbarrow, and of course the painter's easel and the painter's palette. It's a really beautiful painting, and it's kind of a really iconic one of Jay's. Look at that snow. We're getting our snow now, so I better head home. This is a beautiful exhibit, and it's up through December 31st. We have some companion pieces by Michael Clow. He gets these stones either from the rivers, the beaches, or even sometimes the side of the highway in eastern Washington, where this marble, white marble, comes from, outside of Chelan. And he carves them with found tools or his own tools, but never, it's always by hand, and it's a slow, slow process. We've just got a few of these sitting here to give company to these paintings, and they are gorgeous. The sheen just comes from him holding them and buffing them. It's all hand filed. Sometimes they're old Native American tools he found on the beach that he just uses. So it's a lovely accompaniment. We also have a couple of Lino Cuts that are available. Jay did this Lino cut of me back in '91. And excuse the moving around. We also have a lovely naked man. He would often trade images of naked men with Morris graves. And then this is beautiful, kind of a Helmy tribute, Northwest tribute Lino cut. So here we are, Edison, Washington, a wonderful exhibit, tribute to Jay Steensma, who was born in 1942 and died in 1994. Thank you very much. Come and see us this weekend.